Welcome to today's show. Today's a special day.
Why is that?
Why is it? I was going to ask you then. Isn't
Right.
it more relevant to ask you why it's a special day?
It's not a special day. It's a normal day, James.
Why isn't it?
It's like every other day in
Why is that?
calendar.
Why is that?
Because it's. Why would it be different, James?
I don't know, Dan. Why don't you tell me?
Tell you what, I don't know what you're trying to get at here.
It's Dan's birthday today.
No, it's not. Stop peddling lies. You're a peddler of lies.
I got you a present, Dan.
Oh no. I never asked for this.
I got you some toffee popcorn. Except I didn't really get it for you. I got it for me. But then I just noticed that it was in my bag, and I remembered it was your birthday, Dan. So I got it for you. But you're quite welcome to give it.
You can have it.
Oh, that's brilliant, man. I mean, that's pretty kind of you, Dan. I mean, if you really want it, then
I don't want it.
okay, cool. Welcome to the show. So we've got one European game, one North American game coming up for you today. Dan, what's the first match?
We've got Mousesports and EnVyUs up first, and well, do you want me to go into it, James, or straight away?
Before we break it down, Dan, I believe that this breakdown is the Score Esports breakdown, Dan.
It's the breakdown. Of
now
the
we can break it down. Please break it down, Dan.
All right. Okay, so Mousesports, they've been doing slowly better and better. I mean, I think individually at least, we're seeing more players performing, which is always very good, and that's allowing everyone else to have more comfort within the team. So if one player's not doing so well, he doesn't have to feel like, you don't have your star players feeling like I've got to do everything every game, and that's a bad mentality to be in. For example, I think this is what the mentality was like for NIP last year. You'd have like Get Right and Forest probably thinking every single game, if I don't perform this game, then we're going to lose the match. That's probably how they're thinking because they didn't have like a good team structure. I think we're getting more team structure here from Mousesports. They do have some issues still. On their CT sides tend to be their CT sides tend to be rather solid due to their individual play, but sometimes they make weird reads, and I think this is something that over time we'll see ironed out by coaching and so on. But also the T sides also lacking a little bit of structure. Sometimes look a little bit weird. But when you get just down to the crux of it, it's a great team, and there's a lot of individual skill there, and they're always really fun to watch. A lot of star-studded players there. Against EnVyUs, a team that has some similar but also quite different problems, but it does tend to be structure. They don't have individual skill as an issue for them. They don't have a lack of firepower, and you can see how the maps are. We just saw the vetoes there. The maps are going to be going, and I feel like starting on Mirage, that's going to be. I think that's going to be kind of a bit of a toss-up. I feel like this series could actually go quite well here for EnVyUs. I would actually say that they are the worst team right now, but I think the maps work quite well in their favor because despite Mirage, I think, being maybe a weaker start for them in the series, as you move further into it, we've got Inferno next, which as we saw yesterday, EnVyUs typically always really like to play Inferno, and they obviously, with the way that they're playing Inferno right now, is working for them, seemingly. NBK is tweeting out they had like the best T-half he's had in ages on Inferno. Generally, the team looked very good. They had a lot of cohesion there, and that was very encouraging. So I would definitely start to favour Inferno for EnVyUs. Then you move into Dust 2, and Dust 2 was always territory where EnVyUs could dominate because any number of their players can AWP. They have a very, very highly skilled lineup, and that's just kind of their sort of thing. But the cool thing about it as well is that it's also a good map for Mousesports. So I actually feel like we have a really good 3 maps here between these two teams. There are some issues that I'm worried about, though. I feel like teams picking Inferno is I think you should. I think I like the approach we saw from Astralis, where they're like, okay, we want to make our map pool a bit stronger. We want to take some risks, although they can afford to do that, can't they? Because they're kind of at the top of the table, so they can afford to lose games, whereas I suppose EnVyUs can't. So Inferno maybe is a good pick. So we'll see how it turns out.
That's true. Also, Mousesports, I believe, lost Tabson recently, if I'm not mistaken. So I think his contract ran out and he chose not to renew it, which is Penta. Excuse me. That's
they're German.
They are German as well. Yeah, these things happen. All the Germans can't tell them apart. Dan, probably sounds quite racist, but obviously I'm not racist. That'll be quite difficult considering my background. Anyway, never mind that, Dan. James. Never mind that. What kind of score are you expecting here?
I feel like this is quite an even one. I would actually expect Mousesports probably to win though, because generally speaking, Mousesports I feel like they got more consistency over a best of 3. EnVyUs, I think we can expect a good Inferno, but I just don't know when it comes to Dust 2. I just really don't know. But I think it's going to be close. I think it's very hard to tell because both teams are very individual. Like if you're looking at a team like Luminosity, Na'Vi, Astralis, like the teams that are more tactical, strategical, there's a level of consistency there. You can actually look at the way that they play the maps, and you can kind of have a look at how other teams will be. How their styles will actually face up against their style, and because it's very distinct. Whereas, with teams that are a bit more loose, like Mousesports, like like EnVyUs, it's a bit more of a toss-up. You can, for example, yesterday there were loads of rounds where the game on cash when they lost, loads of rounds which could have gone completely differently had they just won that 1 or 2 clutch and their money's a little bit better. It would change things entirely. Whereas versus another team, let's say if it's NIP, they'll have a solid plan in a situation where they lose these individual situations. It's not all about, it's not going to rest too much on the individual clutches as much. They have a good structure behind that, which gives them some consistency. So for me, because it's 2 big individual teams, I feel like it's quite hard to predict. But I think it's going to be a good game. I think we're going to get a good game regardless of who wins.
I'm always interested to see how teams are playing Mirage at the moment, because obviously Mirage is a map where I would say in the last, I don't know, like a year ago to 6 months ago, it was all about controlling connector and so on. I mean, it is still part of that, but now we see a lot more focus on the CT side in having a presence towards ladder room and not necessarily towards CPL. Obviously, you can see people boosting into CPL, which is the window room where the snipers go, if you don't call it CPL or if you're not familiar. So we see a lot of different approaches like that. So it seems that ladder room is more important, but you have to keep an eye on how the CTs make it there, because you can't really get there with good timing. So often, like I believe Luminosity will sometimes have 2 people run into CPL and they'll boost through the second crawl space. Or, I mean, Cold Zero will obviously just run on the window and jump onto short with an AWP and look over the smoke. So there's a lot going on around the ladder room now, which seems to be where things are, one of the places where things are currently changing on Mirage. So it's always good to keep an eye out for that. Also, I believe Mirage is the only map in active duty at the moment which has crawl spaces in it. Apart from, well, I mean, obviously there was a crawl space in mid on Inferno, but that's not, and that was like an extended crawl space, but that's gone now. I can't think of any crawl spaces on any of the other maps. Obviously, all the vents now, you can just run straight through them. So Nuke, you can run through.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, probably not. But this is going to be interesting, actually. I was just thinking about it. And when it comes to Mousesports, from what I've seen in some of the recent games or past games, they tend to play a bit of a passive style on CT side. And I wonder how that's going to actually work out with EnVyUs, because I feel like EnVyUs, for them, what we saw when they played yesterday, they had a situation where on cash they were always getting kind of picked off early, because you can see that some of their plans to try to get early advantages in the map did rely a little bit too much in some spots in taking aim duels. I feel like if Mousesports don't contest them too much on the CT side, and as I've seen Mousesports be quite passive in the past, I feel like that's actually going to match up quite well, because EnVyUs won't have to take as many risks to get some positioning. But I think we're into the match now, so no more theory crafting from me for now. Actually, no, it's a knife round, James. So
yeah, I think you better leave that to the producer, Dan. That's kind of why we pay him, so he directs the show, Dan.
Oh,
I mean, it is your birthday, but you can only take some certain liberties.
I saw a knife and I thought it was a pistol. The corner of my eye.
Well,
so,
okay, well, there you go. I thought Tabson was on Mousesports, so I guess,
I don't trust the producer. I trust no one, James.
It's good to trust
no one. It's the best way to live your life.
I mean, why didn't you trust me? I got you toffee popcorn. I think it's toffee. I ripped the label off because, what does it say here? Trio of chocolate popcorn.
I think
a trio of white chocolate.
This will definitely give me a stomachache. Look at it. Look at it.
A trio of white chocolate, milk chocolate, and cookies and cream. Popcorn.
I think that should stay.
I just thought it was toffee popcorn, because most of the time, in fairness, some are brown and some are white. Dan. It's kind of like you and I, Dan. Slightly ebony and ivory. Someone break into a song. There's a song here somewhere, Dan. I thought it was Happy Birthday, but apparently it's ebony and ivory. Reese, where's the match? Come on.
So one cool thing to look out for in this match is, I say the AWPing of chrisJ and NiKo, because obviously it's NiKo will pick up the AWP more situationally, and probably just how he feels, and that's the freedom that he has, because chrisJ is going to be your dedicated AWPer, because that's unlike NiKo arguably, well, probably definitely top 3 individually in the world, I would say right now. NiKo is he's insanely good, and one thing that's very clear among this caliber of player is obviously that they're amazing at every single weapon, basically. So NiKo is an amazing AWPer, he's an amazing rifler, pistoler, anything. Give him anything, and he's going to be good with it. And so he's able to take a lot of freedom to where he wants to have the AWP. But now we are actually into the game. So the pistol has commenced,
nice,
and we'll see exactly what EnVyUs can do on the beginning of this T side. They've already actually got one player in Palace, NBK, and the rest of the team towards top mid. They're going to be busting out of top mid now, and they'll get the first kill.
Indeed, long-range headshot onto NiKo. Had to do some initial damage. So, chrisJ going to be looking connector, but exposed to slope, and he will get taken down for free. Oh no, Palace actually, because he's got Denis. So he thought his back was safe, but got to have your back to the wall, buddy. Otherwise, it's never safe. The B-bomb fight's been abandoned now, and it seems the players are moving up short with NBK running distraction in Palace. So Mousesports have fallen into a trap, Dan. I like that little, you know, the mouse has fallen into a trap.
Proud of yourself, are you?
I am, Dan. I'm working hard. It's your birthday. I don't want to let you down.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how proud of yourself are you now?
I'd give it a 6. It's early days, Dan. We're going to be here for a while, so I'm just warming up.
A few more terrible puns, and you'll get to that 10.
Absolutely. I'll be Super Saiyan.
Well, doesn't really appear to be any way back in here for Mousesports, and there's a potential flank as well, a containing plate, but actually the container, the lid that was happy is now being pushed away. He's dead now, and it looks like the kit and the Kevlar will be saved for the remaining 2 Mousesports players, and they won't give away the kill bonus either, which will be $200 for pistols. So it's going to be the 1-1, the 1-0. No, it's the 1-0. Why does it say 1-1? That's a pistol round, James.
It might be that if the teams at the top are shown the wrong way around, then when they swap it, it messes up the score. It's one of the many bugs in the game. So when your other team gets a score around on the board, then it will correct itself then. So if you look at the scoreboard, then we will see that the score is correct. You see there? So as soon as Mousesports win 1 round, the score will fix itself. That is how I believe how the error is fixed. Or you just do that. And
there you go.
And it's fixed. Marvelous.
Absolutely.
Well, a good start for EnVy. They've gone for 3 AKs and 2 SMGs, which limits them on the grenades, but they still managed to get 3 smokes out, 3 HEs. Not much in the name of Molotovs, though. We'll see. Apex has... I didn't see, actually. Never mind.
Yeah.
Slow start. But lots of time on the clock. Ooh, lots of timing, eh?
Yep, it's good that we now have a fixed scoreboard. The score is now correct, just like on Score Esports, James.
Indeed, Dan.
You can always find the correct scores. So we have Spiidi here with that Deagle close range. Maybe he's going to find something here. They are quite distracted because there's 2 players in the site. They might not look for him, but they do check every corner. Devil, diligent as ever. We saw great performances from him just yesterday, and already it's going to be a 4 versus 1 as the site has been cleaned of CTs, leaving just chrisJ looking for that headshot with that P250. Ooh, can't quite find it. That's unfortunate for chrisJ. Oops, the tags. The P250 is surprisingly and sometimes very deceptively strong, I should say.
I feel like it's it can be a lot weaker at longer ranges. Obviously the 5.7 would be preferable, or perhaps Tech 9, but it is. I do love a good P250.
It's the armor pen, man.
I'd say it's my favorite pistol by far, actually. That is... chrisJ likes his disgustingly gross guns. I think he's got like a battle-scarred Asimov.
Yeah, I really like that, actually.
Yeah, it kind of stands out from everyone else.
Exactly, yeah. Actually looks kind of cool. Anyway, we do have a full eco now from Mousesports, so they are going to be putting 3 players towards the A side. Not much going, and already some nades will be good enough. I think that was that 0 to 100 grenade? Was that like a 100 damage grenade? Because I don't think he got tagged, and I think the grenade just
I do not recall, Dan.
Either way, it's going to be a fast round here, as we should have everyone dying from Mousesports, but actually they were able to fight back. Nex is still alive. Now can Nex get something else with this Deagle? 2 players to find. Well, 3 to find, but 2 in front of him, and he will die. So 3-0, and the formality of round 2 and 3 has now come to a close. And we get into the real CS. We get the buy rounds.
In the words of Vader, Dan, you may dispense with the pleasantries.
No more pleasantries to be had now.
You may dispense with the pleasantries.
All right, so full M4 setup here. In fact, nobody playing with the M4A1S on this map from Mousesports, and the full AKs from EnVyUs. And this actually looks somewhat like the pistol round setup from EnVyUs. 3 players top mid, 1 in Palace, which is probably going to be NBK again. It is. And let's have a look and see if they can pull something together here. You can see that Happy peeks the left angle in connector just at the same timing as his teammate Apex peeked the right angle. So that's actually kind of cool the way that timing works. It's very small details, but you can tell that those details are in there from EnVyUs.
They just double smoked CPL. Is that a miscommunication?
Must be, yeah. Just as I start talking about the little things that they're doing right, there's some little things they're doing wrong. And they've put Happy, not actually, normally, you know, you would get Happy into connector, inside connector, then rotate everybody back. He's not quite in connector, but the push is going to be coming into A now. Let's see if they can get the entries. There's the first one.
He But they're holding the Palace, and the Palace will be held. But that's all they will hold on the A side. Other than that, they'll have to hold the L, it seems, as it is a 4 versus 2. I mean, Spiidi and Nex are moving towards the site, but there's really not much you can expect them to get done in this situation. So maybe they're looking to save in aggressive positions. But again, there's always that weird timing between the bomb going down and not, where you're severely disadvantaged. But if you can get yourself a bit more back into the round before the bomb goes down, and you have the time on your side. But in this situation, it seems that this is kind of, what is that? They are hiding in plain sight by being in CT spawn, essentially, when it's planted on A. We'll see if they hold their angle there, or if they will choose to cross again. Indeed they will. So that's a bit risky here. I know, it seems... I guess they were trying to run away in case people were coming from the A sites. But it didn't work out for them, unfortunately. So there'll be no save here for the Mousesports side. Left on about 3k. Should be solid eco, maybe P250s, etc. going into the next round. Deagle coming out onto Spiidi and Nex.
Yeah, so far so good here for the EnVyUs side. And I have to see what EnVyUs will be able to do on the CT side as well. I'm quite curious because if they have tried to reinvent some stuff, and it has seemed like on some maps they have been reinventing their T setups, I'm quite curious to see how their Mirage setups will start to look like, because Happy, back in the LDLC days, a very long time ago, he was very, he made his teams very structured, because he was dealing with, essentially, at that time, a team which had much less individual skill on it. So the setups were quite specific, and I remember doing some videos on them a long time ago, and so I'm quite curious to see how it will work out this time. But first, we're going to see them just cleaning up this eco, and you can see the Molotov getting thrown deep there, and a couple players spotted. So with one player spotted, if they can see an extra one, they might start to think maybe there's a stack here. And there's the first frag from NBK, but they will get the split in. So this is actually going quite well so far for EnVyUs. That split is going to be perfect. Sometimes teams just try to run out all of Palace, and if there is a stack, or rather apartments, they get kind of wrecked. But at least the split is going to prevent anything from going too badly, even if they lost players in the apartments.
Yeah, splits are so good because it just reduces so much the places the CTs can hide. So you see the power of them all the time. We'll see if we see them on this round. Double AWPs out for the Mousesports side. chrisJ and NiKo going back to back. Not many kills on the Mousesports team just yet. We'll see if they can add to the tally. We've seen a run boost. I think we might just be. So Devil's going to get boosted in, and it's going to be a double peek, and that is going to be no more peeking in CPR. Quick Molotov in there, and Mid is in control of the T's. And
they save a smoke grenade by doing that. That's awesome. That is really cool, actually. Okay, so how is this going to develop? And I love that NiKo's on the AWP as well. That's really, really cool to see as well. Straight away, just double up, boom, just like that. And they will try to get some control here of short. There's one frag. Oh, Kenny is trying to go for the no-scope to try to return the kill onto Nex. Nex still in a lot of trouble right now, but frag's going back from Connector, it would seem, as Apex got shot in the back from chrisJ by Ticket, and now it's getting a bit awkward here for Happy. He was set up as the lurk. His team was supposed to make it into the B site, leaving him lurking in Connector, but instead now he is alone against 3 players. And Happy, he's supposed to be able to pull out results from this position, because that's the way the setups work, that if everything goes wrong, Happy is the guy that fixes it.
Are you serious?
But NiKo, 180, shot to the chest. Happy is dead.
Casual moonwalking 180. That is absurd. NiKo does a lot of crazy things, but that is, to not die in that situation is completely ridiculous. AWP comes back out again for the T side. So it will be another round with 3 AWPs on the board. And again, we've seen teams like Dignitas not opt for an AWP on this map. And Apex is still rocking with the AWP, so it must have been a timing play. But NiKo just ready. I think Apex was posted up before, but NiKo's just too fast. He's got those young fibers, Dan.
Yeah, absolutely. Those fast twitch fibers. Although I suppose that's not too relevant in esports. but never mind. He has them anyway. It's actually, genetically, some people have a higher percentage of fast twitch fibers than slow twitch fibers. FYI.
Well, you know, my reaction time is slower than yours, Dan, because I'm taller than you.
Yeah.
That
yeah,
sucks. Well. I knew there to be some drawback of being 6'4", Dan.
I'm sure it's a negligible difference.
I finally found it.
So here we go. We've got Nex actually in a very important position. If Nex is able to get a kill or slow them down, then this rush will basically, or this push will be just shut down immediately. But if he doesn't do too well, and there it is, he gets taken down for no frags. Now EnVyUs easily have the bomb site, and there won't be much time here for Mousesports to really get in place before there's a setup already for EnVyUs, including the bomb down. So Spiidi's going to try to make his way over. You can see Happy is lurking there, but they will circumvent Happy's position if only they can make the jump. It's actually one of the easier jumps. Oh, okay. Well,
I'd rather just watch Steve
chrisJ goes for the hard jump there and actually gets punished by Happy. That's hilarious.
Yeah, so looking difficult for Mousesports here. Kenny's been tagged, so has NBK, but they are yet to breach the choke points. And with Spiidi going down, that might be the end of the campaign. Indeed, it is. They will go to the restart position. 2 players probably surviving for Mousesports in this situation. Well, let's see if Denis will... is NBK going to jump in? Is he going to jump it? Seems content where he is. So another round on the board here for EnVy. A really bad start for Mousesports on their CT side. Let's see the money situation here. chrisJ could buy, and York could be thrown over. He could buy Kevlar, and well, NiKo's got York actually, so you might as well just leave it on him and save the money for the next round. So it'll be the AWP and the AK. Now we'll see what Mousesports choose to do. They can perhaps try to stack 4 onto one site and the AWP somewhere else. Or I mean, there's a number of things they can do. They can try and have a save in mind, but I don't think that'll be easy, all things considered. There'll be lots of hunting to do once the bomb goes down. And indeed, the aggression will be over towards B and mid, but they've made the wrong play, it seems, Dan.
Yeah, well, it's, I guess, maybe a retake effort. Denis does have that AK-47. He can spray a little bit if he wants for that smoke. See if he gets lucky, and NiKo is NiKo. So you never know what he's capable of. Denis has had some great play as well recently, individually. And chrisJ's got a good position. There is potential here for Mousesports. Very, very tough, but if that flank kill goes the way of chrisJ, it won't. So now opportunities are starting to be lost, and time is also starting to be lost, and there's no kits. So surely NiKo's thinking of just saving this now, maybe getting a quick snap. Does get the snap, but not the frag. Now it's just down to Next really to stay in place to try to punish any of these players pursuing NiKo. Will anybody do it? We have Devil here in the window. Very dangerous, actually. Is Devil actually able to see him? Looks like he's just out of his view. NiKo doesn't seem to be at home. Did NiKo walk away, or what happened there? That's
really weird, because it looks like he tracked Devil when Devil was running to the other side, but then he just stopped moving his mouse.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he was like, I mean, that's a weird place to be AFK, right?
Oh,
unless he pressed the Windows key by accident, for example.
That must have happened. That must have been exactly what happened, because there's no other, otherwise the game would be paused, right? Because if there's actually an issue,
yeah,
like he crashed or something, they would have paused. So.
But I feel like we would have heard that kind of washing sound. Would have alt back in. So. Oh no, it's going to spread. It's going to spread. It's going to spread. Well, that's one way of spreading it, I suppose. And Kenny will take him out of his misery. So no weapon saves here for Mousesports. I feel like they definitely could have saved the AK and the AWP, or at least tried. But there we go. It's all gone now, but Nexus picks up another one.
This is starting to get bad, by the way. It's already 7-1. Just got reset again. This is really bad. This could be a massive result for EnVyUs. You know, if they can keep this momentum going. With their economy has always been in a good place.
And it's 1 versus 2. Where have the EnVy team gone? It's all gone down.
Yeah, but Denis has no armor. It's going to be a tough one for him. And only, well, that's just only nade. Oh, okay, so he's using the nade to kind of fake his position. But he's going to run now and be spotted immediately, so it won't work out for him. And he's going to run with the AK. The smart choice, there's not really much he can do. And Mousesports haven't been able to post anything here, and I do like how EnVyUs are trying to take middle. Although sometimes it looks like maybe they're a little bit too greedy, but...
Can we see their money? The CT money? I wonder. There's so much time on that clock.
Yeah. They have loads of money now. $2,400 in addition to what they all have, as you just saw, which is abundance. Well,
yeah.
enough.
So he's got 5,100. Even if he dies in that situation, I think. I mean, there's so much time. I mean, yeah, it's unlikely, but 1 versus 2 with an AK, you shoot one guy in the head, then who knows what's happening after that? And they needed rounds, so I think it was a. I mean, you're not going to win most of the time, but because of the money you're going to have regardless, I think it's a risk worth taking, personally.
Well, we'll see how it all works out for Mousesports. Maybe that extra money will help them. Maybe it will end up being useless. We got chrisJ there on the AWP, just going for a bit of an aggression, and he will actually find something there, taking down Apex. Interestingly, we just had that full contact play out of slope, and 2 players are down already, so this is a really big defense so far. But in comes Devil, in comes NBK, and KennyS to try to even the score. NBK having a good go of it right now, but chrisJ is still in the apps. He's been smoked off. He's too afraid to go out of the smoke right now because he could just get shot. And he does not know where the T's are standing or if they're even looking at his position now, as chrisJ has no smoke to worry about. This is a Molotov now. So chrisJ can start to be a factor again in this round. He's going to have to do something. This next there by CT is looking for a way in as well. But NBK is going to drop chrisJ. What a round here from NBK. 3 kills already after they lost 2 players immediately. Mousesports were definitely favored upon the entry to the site. But NBK looking to make it 4, and he will. What a beautiful round there from NBK. The natural born killer indeed. And that's going to be 9-1.
Yeah, this is a very monstrous start here from the French side. KennyS has got, he's almost at max money here, and he is AWPing forward side, so that is definitely healthy for the French. Whereas Mousesports have a bit of a mixed bag here. Denis going for Mag 7 Kevlar, Spiidi with a few nades, next with Kevlar, and a Deagle, the rest just pistols. But they are spread out, there's no stack from them on this occasion. So the advantage is with the T's. Happy gets dinked, he'll have to take a back seat for this round. Down to 7 HP, that 5-7 putting in work. No bomb left in a passive position for the time being. EnVy just doing some investigative work. They got their Pyro moustaches on, Dan.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Mousesports actually pushed 2 players into apps there, into the B apps. So, and I think NBK spotted it. He did take some damage, so they'll be aware of that early on. That Mousesports are trying to get that information. And they managed to get 2 kills. So this is a pretty easy situation for EnVyUs now. They just have to go together. And as you can see, Happy's going to hold the flank, as always. And he will get the kill onto NiKo. And there's not really much that Spiidi or Nex can really do. Unless Nex goes absolutely ham with that Deagle. But he won't even get a chance. KennyS is on the shots.
That position from Happy was quite novel. I didn't know you could get that deep into that position.
He is the expert at all the nooks and crannies games.
Nooks and the grannies.
If there's a nook and a cranny, a nook or a cranny on any map, Happy's going to be deeply familiar.
But what about the grannies, Dan? Is he familiar with the grannies?
I don't know. Grannies are irrelevant right now, James.
They probably are, Dan. You're probably right. AWPs onto both sides again. I think Mousesports are probably at max loss bonus. Seems it was many moons ago when they won that solo round. And they have on the board single round. Oh, the nade. Kenny is wondering what happened to his legs. But it's 10-1, so I don't think they really care about his legs in this round. So EnVy just moving to mid. They want the picks. Obviously, you can flash yourselves there, but again, this is one of the most talented teams in the game right now, so they're just happy to go for the raw aim duels. On this occasion, NiKo will take a frag, but he will go down pretty early, and that's a bad sign for Mousesports. Again, 1-10. NiKo is one of the men they definitely need alive. Yep,
and it's curious now for me how EnVyUs are going to decide to do this. We can see that what the answer is starting to come together. They're going to push slope and get somewhat of a double-pronged attack. I guess their lurker in mid, they won't go and join them in connector, and already now is spotted by chrisJ. Let's see if they can get in here. Play close. Denis goes down. That's an important position, an important player to kill for EnVyUs to get in the site. Devil makes the frag onto chrisJ. Now things are getting really bad here. Spiidi trying to come in for the save. He'll take down 1 player, but there's still 3 remaining on the bomb site now. And there are some flashbangs to try to delay the CTs and 1 smoke. And it's perfect. The smoke goes down in a great spot, leaving a little bit of a gap to give them info. And the flashbangs also delay the CTs. So really good here from EnVyUs right now. Nex has so much to work against, and he recognizes that as well. He's probably thinking at this point, should I go for this? Is the question in his head at the moment, I think. I mean, just knowing that KennyS is alive is a really huge issue. If there was no AWPer, maybe you're thinking, okay, maybe I can get some engagements here. Maybe it's possible, but KennyS, all he has to do is just hit that 1 shot. And he's probably going to hit it because he's KennyS. So respect from Nex, and he will keep his equipment. But Mousesports will lose yet another round. EnVyUs look unstoppable right now, even in spots where maybe Mousesports can pick up a frag here or there. They're being overpowered, overwhelmed. Look at the money. That money is ridiculous.
Cash in the bank, Dan.
Wow.
They are flossing, or what do people say these days? They are...
I don't know what the kids say these days, James.
I can't remember.
I'm an old man now.
How old are you now, 28?
28.
You're old and decrepit, Dan.
I know. Let's just hope that it's not contagious. So, EnVyUs this time going for a contact play straight in out of the apartments through the smoke, perhaps it would seem, which is quite novel as well, considering if you look at their past rounds, they haven't done this yet. I mean, this most similar play was, I suppose, last round when I think it was last round, where they just walked. No, it was the round before that, where they just walked into the A site, basically, all from slope. It's a little bit surprising, and there's no warning for the CTs. They have no information, and this is the nature of Mousesports, how they want to play. They're playing so passively that they don't have any info. So this is actually a great way to play against that, because there's going to be no notice for a rotation. Here it comes, here's the push. They only just know that it's hitting them now. They make the call and so the rotation starts, but they're going to lose both players on the site pretty much immediately. There it is, both frags from Devil, and he gets more than enough time to take another 1 versus 1 against NiKo. He will win that one, and it's a 3 versus 2 with the bomb down. What a tough position here.
Yeah, I feel like EnVy are just simply playing an out-aim style versus Mousesports, and it's working.
Yeah.
Mousesports are not having much of a chance to respond here. I mean, as you saw in that round, once the first pick goes in, EnVy are all over the site, and too many people are lost, and then Mousesports have to go for the save again. So we're looking at a 12-1 here.
Yeah.
Bit of a shocker.
The thing I love the most about this round, and I do wonder, because I actually mentioned this in the pregame, that Mousesports do have a lot of very, very passive rounds. And for me, I highlighted that was a fear that if you give EnVyUs a space, then there's less mistakes for them to make, because they can get map control without too much in the way of gameplay. You can just take the map control a bit more easily with a bit, light pressure. And in some spots, we can see them just, walking almost into a bomb site like that one. And that's a really strong play against a very, very passive team, because the rotation is so far away. Because when they're playing passively, usually, passive play usually indicates deep positions, because you're not contesting the middle of the map. So, we're going to have a mid-aggression here. So just flipping the script, Mousesports, but looks like EnVyUs might just walk into A.
Indeed, and let's not forget, this was the pick of Mousesports. They picked this map, and it's 1-12. Niko's the only man to try and hold things down here, and he's going to get punished for peeking before the smoke goes off. And that will be the announcement horn for EnVy to start moving into the site. They're trying to do what he can here, which is only 1 frag for the time being. He's going to flash himself through. Sees many players. Down goes Kenny. That's a big frag for the team. Man advantage for the CTs. Yeah,
this is looking actually not too bad here for the Mousesports, but this is the thing right now. Any number of players can go off and just go ham in this match here from EnVyUs. Who will it be this time? Happy's already got a 2K there. Now down to NBK. He's been the big performer so far, and he's against one very weak player, and next. Defuse comes in, NBK wins the first 1 versus 1, and he has to go around for the defuser now, but there's no kit. Oh no, if there was a kit, Next would have had that one, as the plant was bad. And the reason the plant was bad was because Mousesports played it pretty well, in the sense that they were able to get the pressure in to force them to make a bad plant, but they couldn't capitalize right at the end. And the money, the reserves, oh my god.
He had money for a kit as well.
Cutting those corners.
Yeah, indeed.
Boom.
So there we go. Such is life. 13-1 last round, and the scouts will come out. Been a while since we saw any highlight videos from chrisJ with the scout, and he may not get one today. Not on this map anyway, as there may not be much opportunity for it. Ooh, Spiidi holding things down here on the B-bomb site for the time being. chrisJ getting boosted onto the bricks, and we've got heavily tagged players here for EnVy, so Mousesports could indeed double their score down in this round.
Oh yeah, the bomb still needs to go down as well, so that's a really big thing going in the favor of Mousesports. And NiKo has some time to go up close here, and he's doing a lot of damage. Although that said, Happy bringing the damage straight back, and now what was looking like a great situation for Mousesports is much more even, but NiKo's position is really good. Oh, how does he get spotted there? Happy finds that kill, and that's going to be a 14-1. That is a gargantuan scoreline. EnVyUs, I did not expect them to have such a crazy result, but this is that level of inconsistency. It looks like EnVyUs are just on, and Mousesports were struggling to find spots where they could play from, that they could play their players from.
Yeah, and this is a Mousesports where we say that their CT sides are generally better than their T sides.
Absolutely.
Where not much is necessarily always going on, and it was their pick And EnVy are literally just walking in and shooting them in the face. That's what they're doing, Dan. They're doing it because it works, maybe specifically against this team. Maybe they just have no answer, NiKo aside, but maybe there's just no answer for a team with the level of individual skill as EnVy.
I do think to an extent it is that stylistic matchup. I think EnVyUs have forced Mousesports to play a little scared because their money's always been low, so they've been too passive. And Mousesports in the history have actually had an issue whereby they play too safe when they're in certain spots when they're kind of afraid that, oh, we can't lose this round. So they'll maybe play too safe to the point where it's actually a mistake in the way that they play the round. So might be been a little bit of that going on. EnVyUs forcing them into those spots. But we've got the pistol here, so maybe there can be some salvation, some redemption. Devil's going to get straight in there, deny the plant from going down, and whilst they're jumping through the smoke to work out where he is, he picks up another frag here. We get frags all over the place. Now Nex is in a doable situation, 2 versus 1, with some time to play with, but the bomb is down. He needs to somehow collect that. The CTs know where it is. It's not an easy situation by any stretch of the imagination. And right now EnVyUs are playing it well. They're just holding back and waiting for Nex to make the move. It's like NBK is going to spot the player there. Oh, tagged, and even the headshot coming in from Nex. But there it is, NBK all game long. He's not stoppable. He's unstoppable. In fact, there is a word for it. It's called unstoppable.
Next was the sandwich, Dan. Ironically, against a French team. He was the sandwich. He was the Gruyere cheese, Dan, which in fact is Swiss, not French, but it's a nice cheese, Dan, so I thought I'd mention it. In fact, let's make it cheese of the day. 15-1 now, 14 game points here for EnVy. EnVy against Mousesports on Mousesports' pick. Let's not forget that. That needs to be rubbed in pretty hard because if this is their pick, then what can they possibly do on the pick of EnVy? Maybe soon, maybe not soon. NiKo with the Deagle, we know what he's capable of with this.
Absolutely. But the problem is that in some senses, he hasn't been able to really get his confidence going. This is also one of those spots where, well, I'll hold that thought for a moment. He's going to go for a knife. There it is. He's got himself a FAMAS, and he's not even lost any health there. I think he even picked up an HE. Happy will get in there, but now the FAMAS has gone to NiKo. He's going to trade frag easily. So Mousesports actually are looking like they're going to pick up this round unless NBK outdoes himself. And he would have to outdo himself, and he's already been performing great. Ooh, the shenanigans. NBK loves the jumping scout. There's a tag. Oh, no headshot for NBK. Otherwise, he could have made 2 frags there. But, yeah, one quality, again, if people hold NiKo to the regard of one of the best players in the world, is that even if your confidence is not going, that you can still perform. Even if you're not getting opportunities, that you can still perform. That's a key factor.
So 2 rounds on the board for Mousesports. The force coming in for the most part from the EnVy side. NBK will get his next scout buy in. And we have the big buy coming out for Mousesports with the weapon saved from the previous round. So we'll see 2 of these 5 players on EnVy have helmets actually. So that SMG could come into great effect. But NBK is the one coming in with the dirty peaks. I like that short peak actually. That's quite nice. Haven't seen that one before. And he will seek new disciples then for his pilgrimage. The pilgrimage towards the balcony. And the Molotov comes in there with the peak. Ooh, the timing of the nade, and he will get absolutely wrecked, in full fairness, to the Mousesports side.
Yep. Yeah, Mousesports look pretty good here right now. NiKo able to get some kills, although he ended up dying. But still, it is another round for Mousesports. And they should get yet another one because EnVyUs did buy a little bit there. But they didn't go for the full force. They didn't actually fully force there. And this has been a new facet of EnVyUs' play that we're more used to seeing now, where they try to play more economically. They're trying to adjust to the trend whereby teams are able to extract many more advantages from being more economical, more tactical and strategical overall, and over a larger stretch of a match. So all they have is PT50. Well, 3 PT50s and a Deagle.
How much money do they have left? Well, alrighty then.
Actually,
I think they had a few hundred left in the bank for the most part, apart from Kenny saving for the ult.
All right, so
it kind of was.
Oh, they did actually force it.
Yeah, because NBK went for the scout, etc.
Yeah, it's true. That's unfortunate. I think yesterday we saw them in spots like that actually even ecoing fully. But I think maybe Mousesports is an opponent where you can actually win a force buy against, whereas if you're playing an IP, your chances are much lower.
Yeah, it's clear that the level of respect is different here based on the style they deploy, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're right. And you know, NIP are also a team that they won't always go for the economic option. They feel like they can get an edge that's realistic with a force buy, but they will actually take it in some spots. They're not always just going to be deploying for that. And against certain teams, as you say, there's like a respect factor going on. And so far, Mousesports, they've played a good anti-eco into the bomb site. They managed to situate themselves pretty solidly, and there's no real way back in for the pistols of EnVyUs at the moment. Or perhaps, well, not at all in this round. So it's down to that next round bye. And they only need a single round. Only a single round is required for EnVyUs. That's ridiculous. It's been a very dominant showing on that T side. I really did not expect that.
Yeah, but we'll see if Mousesports can build momentum once the buy rounds come in. Ooh, I like that. That's awesome.
That's really cool.
That is brilliant, yeah. That's great. That's good stuff. So Apex trying to really hang on to this AK. This will be a good advantage for the CTs going forward. So we're going to hit that dong basically every round in this map now, unless we hit overtime. So we've got the nades lacking for the CT side, and obviously lots of nades on the Mousesports team, having won the previous few rounds. So the question is, can they utilize them to their advantage? Bearing in mind how EnVy played basically a picking game in their half, do you expect more strategy coming out of the Mousesports team instead?
I expect that they'll probably play pretty basic and try to get picks with somebody like chrisJ. He's on an AWP right now. You can see the formation is actually a mid-take setup from Mousesports. The question is whether they decide to leave somebody in connector and then go for the A play, or whether they try to play it differently. That's actually the standard way to play around like this. But EnVy is actually very defensive themselves. They have very deep positions, but 4 players towards A. So they kind of feel like the A play is coming. And wow, NiKo walks out there. That's what he's there to do. To walk out, take the aim battle and win it because he's NiKo. But this time he's against Devil and he'll actually lose it. Devil's been really on recently. And now it's going to be 4 versus 4. Denis is going to frag back onto Devil. So the 1-for-1 eventually does come in. But this is kind of a weird situation because Mousesports, they have window room. But the only entrance really to A is jungle and connector. And if you look at the positions here from the CTs, they seem very aware of this.
Yeah, they seem to have a bit of a crossfire going. So Apex holding jungle while Kenny watches the cross towards connector. Happy will go down at the back though, and that's going to weaken the defense on A. And indeed, as KennyS moves away and Apex goes a bit passive, the Ts are moving towards B, it seems. NBK coming into the push, but he should hear a lot of noise on short. So actually now NBK becomes in with the powerful position because he can just try and hold this angle. Oh no, there's a play coming in from the underpass, and that's Denis as he looks away. That crushes everything for EnVy.
Yeah, they need to go for a hero retake now if they want to win this round. And they only need 1 round, so to be honest, they can just save what they have. That's completely reasonable. Apex can drop his P250 to somebody, and they can maybe have a good round in the following one. If Mousesports make an error, or maybe KennyS goes huge with the AWP, there's always a possibility. But in this round, there is simply no possibility to retake this, not reasonably so, especially considering that KennyS has no health. What would happen basically is Apex would run in and die. KennyS, because he can't really commit because he's so low. So yeah, it just wouldn't.
No Kevlar either.
Exactly, it would just never work.
He got naded in CPL through the smoke on short, and that put him at a severe disadvantage immediately. Basically rendered him almost useless.
The interesting thing is that Mousesports decided there, despite having so much money, they decided to let them save the weapons, which I think is, considering that they know that one is AWPing, I mean it's KennyS. Maybe they should have sacrificed 2 players to try and find this kill there.
I do wonder why they did that, because they can't lose a single round. So with the money they have,
exactly, yeah,
I don't see the point of them not hunting.
Exactly, yeah. It's kind of a weird one because KennyS could just win a round with the AWP here. And we might just see that. Here they are, coming to line up for KennyS perhaps. Will he spot some pixels? I think he saw something there. He's going to go in for a deeper look. The investigation begins. First player to face with the flashbang, and KennyS has to dart backwards now. So they have denied his positioning. Perhaps he went a bit too far, but they would have flashed him off anyway. And here he is now trying to defend. Has the shadow to work with, and that's going to be good. There's 2 frags from KennyS, and maybe it's going to happen here as the jewels come in. But Denis and NiKo with a trio kills. Apex in with the AK now. Quick spray, and all of a sudden the CTs are back in the bomb site. Devil's alive with Kevlar coming from the apps, and Apex makes another frag, and all of a sudden it's down to chrisJ versus 2.
Well, You might be right, Dan, about that saves AWP killing the game here for Mousesports. chrisJ is being flanked, and there the flank comes in, and there the game goes. So not hunting KennyS would be their destruction, Dan. Again, they had the money to do that. They had the money. They had no reason, from what we can see, to not hunt those final 2 players down, and it cost them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, maybe they would never have gotten the kill, but it's just that, like, showing that they understand. Okay, we've got 7 to 10k. That's a decent bank. Next round should be clean. If we can make next round be clean, we can make up for that investment of 2 players next round if we get that AWP dead, basically. I think this is one of the things with Mousesports, actually. When they're in spots where they have to take big risks, I wouldn't even consider that a big risk, but it is a risk. When you're in those sorts of spots, they haven't always been the best team at assessing what call to go with, actually. I actually mentioned it earlier as well, that they're a team that tends to sometimes play too safe to the extent where they actually are making errors because they're playing way too safe. They're giving up too much. You have to take risks in Counter-Strike. That's what the game is about, and that's part of what makes it really interesting. But that's the first map over with. Very dominant T-side from EnVy. It's quite surprising that it was so good, but in some senses, you're just reminded that all those players are actually very good.
Yeah, and it's just great to watch all those frags coming in, all those raw peaks, and just general savagery, Dan. General savagery. But this was nice. I really wanted to see if that Molotov would expand, but they threw another one in, Dan, because they knew he was there, and then down he went. Because again, like on Inferno, if you're on the stairs towards the CTFs, there are 2 dots on the wall on the stairs, and you can bounce a molly off there, and it forces them into the corner, and then it spreads after like 2 seconds, and then they almost always die. It's quite hilarious because you can hear it, Dan.
Yeah.
You can hear it.
You can hear it. You know they're screwed.
Falling to pieces. That was a great play by NiKo. His game sense is just absolutely bananas.
Absolutely.
To do that kind of stuff.
And you got to throw credit to NBK here for EnVyUs. A lot of players on EnVyUs are playing very well, but NBK had a stand-up performance. There were some rounds which did look very patchy, whereby, let's say, I think it was one of their contact plays in 2A. They lose 2 players immediately, and it's NBK that gets them back into some of these rounds where he just kills 3 players in 3 1 versus 1s, and he's repeatedly doing this. I don't think I would love to see his success rate on 1 versus 1s in that match, because it feels like it was like almost 100% on the T half. And obviously they got 14 rounds, so it was 14, right? Yeah, it was 14 rounds. Yeah. So there it was. And well, that's going to be that. We move into Inferno, which, as you mentioned, is the pick of EnVyUs, and it's one of their go-tos. And we saw them play a really solid T half on it just yesterday. So we'll have to see if that's going to be continuing.
Time will tell. We'll see you after the break.